Subcommittee N is hereby called to order and ready to consider for deliberation of the committee for fiscal year 2023, the budget of the Office of the Press Secretary and its attached agencies, namely Bureau of Broadcast Services, National Printing Office, News and Information Bureau, and attached government-owned and controlled corporations, namely People's Television Network, Apo Production Unit, and Intercontinental Broadcasting Corporation, IBC 13, and also the budget of the Philippine Information Agency. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize the presence of the following senators: Senator Francis Tol Tolentino, Senator Rafi Tulfo, and Senator Robin Padilla. And also online, our minority leader, I believe, will be online. He's here, our minority leader. We ask the committee secretary to acknowledge the resource person from the OPS and the PIA.
Good afternoon. Your Honors, the Office of the Press Secretary, from the Office of the Press Secretary, we have Attorney Cheloy Velicaria Garafil, Undersecretary Maria Pamela Pedroch, Admin and Finance Procurement, USEC Emerald Ann Ridao, Digital Media Services, USEC Rowena Reformina, Broadcast Media Services and related GOCCs and attached agencies, Undersecretary Eugene Henry Rodriguez, USEC Greggy Eugenio, Media Accreditation and Relations, USEC Marlon Purificacion, Special Concerns, ASEC Antonio Nara, Finance, Director Glenn Albert Ocampo, Administration. That's all, sir.
Thank you, our committee secretary. The chair would like to acknowledge attorney and the USEC, or OIC, of the Office of the Press Secretary, Cheloy Ricaria Garfield, for the budget presentation of the OPS, and afterwards the PIA.
Magandang hapon po, Mr. Chairman, Honorable Senator, Senator Rafi Tulfo, Senator Francis Tolentino, and Senator Robin Padilla. Hayaan niyo muna po akong magpakilala sa aking sarili. Ako po ay si Attorney Cheloy Garafil, dating chairperson ng LTFRB, at ngayon bagong talagang OIC ng Office of the Press Secretary. Thank you very much for this opportunity to discuss with you what the Office of the Press Secretary will seek to do, especially in providing information and communicating to a broader public what the Marcos administration seeks to achieve in the months ahead. At the outset, let me point out that the Office of the Press Secretary will uphold freedom of speech, of expression, and of the press as guaranteed by the Constitution. This is a cornerstone of a democratic society, and we intend to do our part in defending this constitutional provision. I believe that a free press is crucial in strengthening Philippine democracy. Under my watch, the OPS will actively promote transparency, accuracy, and accountability as hallmarks of good governance. Given the scope of our operations, vis-a-vis the timing of my appointment as OIC only last Friday, I will do my best to answer your queries pertaining to our budget, but please allow me to refer to the appropriate or relevant department or agency issues or concerns requiring more detailed information.
So, this is your day one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, welcome to the Senate.
Kasama ko po sa budget hearing na ito ang mga opisyal ng OPS para tulungan po ako na sumagot sa anumang katanungan patungkol sa aming ahensya. Nais kong kunin ang inyong permiso upang payagan si Undersecretary Emerald Ridao, ang ating Undersecretary for Digital Media Services, na ipresenta ang aming budget para sa taong 2023. Mr. Chair. Permission.
Yes, please go ahead. USEC Emerald Ann Ridao for the presentation.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Maayong hapon sa inyong tanan. I am Emerald Ridao, Undersecretary for Digital Media Services. Joining me here in this budget hearing are the other officials of the Office of the Press Secretary and the heads of our attached agencies and corporations, namely the Bureau of Broadcast Services, National Printing Office, News and Information Bureau, APO Production Unit, the Intercontinental Broadcasting Corporation, or IBC 13, and the People's Television Network, or PTV4. Just to start, we have chosen this theme as the OPS's budget proposal, as it is the policy of the current administration to nurture a well-informed and enlightened citizenry, as well as to protect, promote, and abide by the highest standards of free expression and respect for press freedom. To attain this, the OPS aims to continue providing true, accurate, and relevant information through effective utilization of our communications assets and resources. And now let me proceed to present to you our slides for the proposed budget for the fiscal year 2023. The EO number 2 effectively reorganized and renamed the Presidential Communications Operations Office, then known as PCOO, into what is now the Office of the Press Secretary, OPS, or the Tanggapan ng Kalihim ng Pamamahayag. We were informed by the Department of Budget and Management that due to time and some technical constraints during the printing, the FY 2023 National Expenditure Program, or the NEP, which was submitted to Congress, still includes the PIA, the BCS, and RTVM under our OPS family for the budget clustering purposes. However, the Executive Order number 2 actually transferred them. So nevertheless, the DBM has already issued the errata sheet for the FY 2023 that should be affected in the General Appropriations Bill. So in the succeeding slides, we have already separated their respective proposed budgets from the totals. We did still invite, however, the heads of the aforementioned agencies to join us today for the proper coordination and to serve as resource persons should the committee have any questions. Also under EO2, the offices and units in the OPS proper are organized into the following 8 areas or clusters, each headed by an undersecretary and an assistant secretary. The proposed budget of the OPS proper, being referred to in this presentation, corresponds to the operational requirements of these clusters of the offices performing their respective functions as provided under EO2. As reflected in the submitted NEP, the proposed budget of the OPS and its attached agencies for 2023 amounts to about 1.04 billion pesos. As mentioned earlier, this now excludes the budgets of the BCS, PIA, RTVM, and other offices which were formerly under the supervision of then PCOO. The OPS family's proposed 2023 budget is nearly a third lower than the 1.43 billion peso appropriations this year, as almost all of our proposed capital outlay projects were unfortunately not favorably considered to be included in the NEP. Nevertheless, we assure the Filipino people that the OPS will remain committed to serving as the instrument for informing, educating, and enlightening the citizenry about matters of national importance. In this slide, Your Honor, we provide a quick summary of the FY 2023 budget for each of our attached agencies and GOCCs, categorized into the major allotment classes versus 2022 GAA. In the 2023 NEP, capital outlay was 99% reduced compared to the 2022 GAA. Also, more than half of this amount will go to personal services, followed by the maintenance and other operating expenses, which receive a 41% share, and the capital outlay, which accounts for only less than 1% of the overall OPS proposed budget. Uh, 465.98 million pesos, or about 44.8% of our proposed budget for next year, will go to the government radio arm, the Bureau of Broadcast Services, closely followed by OPS proper, which will receive 417.41 million pesos, or roughly 40.1% of the said allocation. The News and Information Bureau, the government newswire, will get a third of the largest piece of the pie at 140 million pesos. So the amount allotted for the National Printing Office, corresponding to a share of only about 1.6%, actually pertains to the 1 month PS requirements of its plantilla positions, which they can only utilize if their revolving fund becomes insufficient to cover salaries and compensation for their regular personnel. The NPO has a revolving fund and is authorized to use its income from printing and publication pursuant to EO 285. Hence, only the provision of 1 month requirements for its positions and terminal leave benefits, if any, are being included by the DBM in the annual GAA. This next slide shows the comparative matrix of the OPS and its attached agencies. Except for the NPO, all agencies under the former PCOO family are given support by the Congress for their respective capital outlay projects from 2020 to 2022. For the OPS proper, these include the budgetary allocations for the construction of the Government Communications Academy building, which is in Bukidnon, the procurement of equipment, furniture, and fixtures for this said GCA, and the Visayas Media Hub, which will be constructed by the DPWH in Mandaue City in Cebu Province, and acquisition of new IT equipment and software as programmed in our Information Systems Strategic Plan and reviewed by former MITHI Steering Committee as led by the ICT. In this slide, we compare the original 2023 budget proposal submitted to DBM, which was decreased by about 37% in the NEP, which was submitted to Congress. Most of these proposals, which were not considered by DBM, are actually capital outlay projects that aim to upgrade our broadcast facilities in the regions, as well as additional ICT equipment and software that could greatly complement the existing assets that we are using for coverage and coverage of presidential events, for media operations, for research and development services as well. Of the 876.7 million pesos, which we proposed to DBM for capital outlay, unfortunately, only 5 million pesos lodged under the OPS proper, or less than 1%, was included in the NEP. We did try to appeal to DBM for the consideration of our proposals to get the additional ICT requirements, but unfortunately, only the funding for additional motor vehicles was considered. A total amount of 55.762 million, corresponding to the budgetary requirements for the operations of the Freedom of Information Project, was transferred from the OPS proper to PIA, also pursuant to EO2. Hence, from 473 million, the budget of OPS proper will be further decreased to only 417, while the budget of PIA will in fact be increased to 396.4 million. The budgetary support to our government-owned television networks for 2023 amounts to 125.159 million, which is nearly a third lower than the subsidies to OPS's GOCCs this year. The amount corresponds only to the financial assistance or subsidy provided to the BTV4 network, which will go to its continuing modernization programs to improve its reach and the quality of its programs, while the IBC requests for a financial assistance from the national government to support its operations. The DBM did not grant the same upon evaluation of the IBC's proposal that this is currently categorized as for privatization. We would like to move on to the third GOCC, which is the Apple Production Unit. This GOCC remains under the control and supervision of the OPS and is in charge of the printing of accountable forms, security printing requirements of the government, such as the BIR tax stamps and DFA's e-passport. However, as a non-stock, non-profit, non-chartered GOCC, it is not covered by EO number 518, which means that it is not required to submit its corporate budget to the DBM for its review and approval. Since Apple Production Unit is a self-sustaining public enterprise, it does not seek any budget assistance from the national government, hence a zero subsidy in the proposed budget under the FY 2023 NEP. In this slide, we are demonstrating the comparative matrix of our GOCC subsidies for the past 3 fiscal years. PTNI and IBC were both able to receive budgetary support from the national government for its maintenance and other operating expenses in the past years. Meanwhile, this slide compares the said GOCC's original proposal for 2023 and the approved subsidies as included in the NEP. Unfortunately, the DBM did not favorably consider the requested financial assistance or subsidy to IBC 13 to augment its corporate operating budget for next year. For PTNI, only a little more than half of its proposal for budgetary support was also included in the NEP. So, Your Honor, all in all, the proposed regular budget of the OPS as a department, plus the subsidy of one of our attached GOCCs, amounts to 1.1 billion pesos. We have excluded from this figure the 593.7 million peso budget allocated to BCS, PIA, and RTVM. In this slide, we provide just a quick summary of the FY 2023 budget for each of our attached agencies and GOCCs, categorized into the major allotment classes. Separated in the lower portion of the table are the budgetary allocations for our 3 former attached agencies. Our FY 2023 budget proposal, originally submitted to the DBM, amounting to about 1.6 billion pesos, was decreased by about 37% in the NEP, which was transmitted to Congress. We tried to appeal to the DBM for reconsideration of our proposals last July, especially those capital outlay projects, however, to no avail. Thus, we are taking now this opportunity to request the additional budget of 2.037 billion pesos for this Senate's consideration. To keep IBC 13 operating sufficiently, it will require a budgetary support amount of about 979 million pesos, which already includes the allocation for the salaries of its personnel and unpaid retirement benefits of its retirees since 2009. The requested MOOE corresponds to the related costs to improve programming and payments to MTRCB as well, while the CO proposal will be used for the replacement and upgrades of various news production equipment, broadcast towers and transmitters, among others. If this will be provided, IBC will be well on its road for recovery and ultimately commercial viability that will allow the government to continue its programs as a broadcast medium for government programs or for the sale of IBC 13. We at OPS proper are also requesting for an additional budget of 151 million to acquire additional or new ICT equipment and software for our operations and in order to enhance our productivity in delivering the messages to the general public. Part of this amount will also be used for programs and projects that aim to combat misinformation and disinformation, particularly the hiring of PR translators to translate to local dialects, as well as sign language interpreters for our media briefings, and the conduct of media literacy trainings and the establishment of a media monitoring team which will address the people's needs and sentiments. We are also proposing the establishment of press attaché offices in 7 foreign posts in order to strengthen our relations with the international media, and this would entail an additional cost of about 67 million. Lastly, Your Honor, our print media services cluster is respectfully requesting for a dedicated budget amounting to about 35 million pesos to support OPS's vision of creating and promoting a culture of reading amongst Filipinos. They will do this by laying the groundwork in support of an ecosystem that inspires the publishing industry. Next, in our priority list is the requested additional budget of the BBS amounting to around 231 million. With this amount, the BBS, as the main government radio arm, will be able to upgrade its capabilities by purchasing various equipment for its broadcasting operations and for office productivity. The agency also intends to use a portion of this additional budget to erect towers and construct additional transmitter buildings in Batanes and in Davao, as well as to develop various information systems for the digitalization of its processes. And lastly, but definitely not least, the PTV4 is requesting for an additional budget of around 675 million to top what was already provided in the NEP to subsidize the production of new in-house programs and the enhancement of the existing ones. The additional capital outlay will enable PTV4 to widen its reach and respond to the public's need for prompt and efficient delivery of news and public information. This concludes our presentation, Your Honor. On behalf of the entire OPS family, we express our utmost gratitude to the honorable senators here for your kind attention and support to our agencies and our respected mandates. We wish you all a pleasant day. Thank you.
Thank you, Yusek Emerald Ridao. I need to start the ball rolling because Senator Tol has to also go to the other committee. But before I acknowledge Senator Tol, just ano lang, no, how is the reorganization and renaming of the renaming affect the service of the OPS? Kasi traditionally, yung mga RTVM, lahat yan, broadcast, PIA, BBS, under OPS talaga yan eh. So, Attorney Sheloy, can you, anong mangyayari dito? OPS na talaga yan, then the rest, RTVM will be with PMS.
RTVM and FIO and the BBS are with the Office of the President na po. And then the rest of the agencies and other attached agencies are with the OPS.
So under OP na sila directly.
Yes, sir.
Because ang ano lang dun, yung coordination, kasi the mouthpiece usually is the press secretary and the spokesperson, no? But the spokesperson office also of the presidential spokesperson was likewise abolished also under this executive order.
Yes,
Am I
sir. That's
correct?
because wala pong spokesperson ngayon si Presidente.
Okay, so before the chair would like to ask some questions later on, I'd like to give the floor first to Senator Tolentino because he has to also go to the other committees.
Mr. Chairman, I asked some questions informally a while ago before the start of the hearing. I just got info that the cameras, which I was alluding to, were given to the RTVM before. So who can check that? RTVM? Can you verify that? Can you validate that? That indeed there were 3 or 4 cameras which I initiated.
There are 3 to 4 brand new cameras, sir. But I was not aware that it was through your initiative po. So
I am-
thank you so much. And
I am now letting my modesty disappear so that you will acknowledge that. So meron talaga.
meron po,
You're
meron po,
using it
sir.
right now. So
Yes, sir.
that's-
It's
that's
being
the
used po in the broadcasts.
So it just shows that I've been supporting your communications family ever since.
Thank you so
That's the
much, sir.
proof. My question is this. Thank you. Relative to the question given by the good chairman, it now appears confusing because we abolished the OPS and yet we still maintain an OPS, the Office of the Press Secretary, right? Please,
PCOO po yung na-abolish. Na-rename po siya as Office of the Press Secretary.
but I have here abolished the Office of the Presidential Spokesperson.
Yung presidential spokesperson po yung na-abolish kasi
Yes.
wala po tayong
So, but
spokesperson.
the acronym is still the same, OPS.
Yes, sir. OPS
Diba?
pa din.
So that's confusing. So you abolish the OPS and you recognize another OPS.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Malapit na yan maging PCSO. Wouldn't it be more clear if all the variances given in your comparative matrix have given us, this committee, the amounts that were affected, transferred by virtue of Executive Order number 2, 2022? A little bit of tweaking the figures. For instance, there is a variance in the transfer of RTVM to PMS. And PMS, I suppose, is the Presidential Management Staff. Diba? So,
Yes,
but
sir.
the work output of RTVM would still be the same. And
Yes.
perhaps the budgetary requirement of RTVM now, which I helped last year, would still be more or less the same. Am I correct? In that,
Medyo mas malaki po ng kaunti, sir, than the last 2 years. Only because si RTVM po yung sumasama kay President palabas. And for the past 2 years, wala pong labas because of the pandemic. And itong foreign and local travels would be may significant amount din po sa budget.
and that goes the same with the transfer of PIA to OP. Correct? The budgetary allocation given to PIA before, prior to the issuance of Executive Order number 2, would affect the budgetary allocation for your office because of this transfer, but it will not affect the efficiency of PIA. Am I correct? So the request, Mr. Chairman, of an additional 530 plus million would cover what? Who can explain this? I heard something about 530 million plus plus. Would not that 530 million, would that 530 million have been should have been covered had not Executive Order number 2, series of 2022, been issued? Or would the budgetary allocation that would have that you are now asking this committee to provide of 530 million have been assumed by the transfer because of number number 2. Ulitin ko sa Tagalog na lang. Hindi kaya yung inalis sa inyo na hinihingi nyo ngayon ay na-cover na nung nilipat? Nilipat sa kabilang bulsa, ganon din yung efficiency. Who can answer?
According to our budget officer, yung 531 million, talagang sa kanilang budget po yon. And it will not affect yung budget po ng OPS.
I heard from Yusek, what's your name, Emerald? Last night I was watching a basketball game, PBA. The name of the import of San Miguel is Diamond. Now you're Yusek Emerald. Yusek Emerald,
Yes,
sabi mo kanina, there is a need for 531 million. Sabi
Yes, sir.
naman ngayon, there is no more need kasi na-transfer na.
One moment, Mr. Chairman.
If I may be recognized po, Yusek Pedroche for Admin and Finance, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
I believe, sir, you are talking about the budget under FOI program, which was originally a part of the OPS proper budget.
So,
It
would
was,
that clarify my question?
the amount of 55 million was transferred to PIA because FOI program is now under PIA po.
What's FOI PMO?
Yan by freedom of information.
Sir,
PMO is?
Project Management Office po.
So, just 51 million.
55 po.
55. Ano yung sinabi ni Sir kanina na meron yung 531?
Probably, sir, the total amount of the budget of the transferred agencies amounting to 593 million.
The budgets accompanying or attached to RTVM, FOI, and PIA were transferred because of EO
Yes,
number
number
2.
two po.
So, according to USEC Emerald, there is a need to increase it again to 531M. Why is there such a need? If the budgets were transferred because the offices were now attached to the OP.
The addition, sorry.
Miss Emerald, can you enlighten or make your explanation shine?
Mr. Chair, allow me to just reiterate the figures that, and if we could possibly show the last slide on the screen as well. Actually, the OPS is requesting an additional 2.037 billion pesos po, and the allocations will be as follows: to IBC 13, 979 million. To PCOO proper, that's 151 million. To the broadcasters, to BBS, that's 231 million, and to PTV4, that's 675 million po.
So I probably must have misheard the 531. You're all
Well, no, I
nodding,
must have misspoke.
you're all not nodding in agreement that I misunderstood. Mali pala ako, Mr. Chairman. So 531 million yung tinransfer. So there is now nag-transfer ng 500, ulitin ko, Tagalog na. Nag-transfer ng 531 because of EO number 2. So nawala yung 531. Let me confuse this some more. Nag-transfer ng 531 but now you need 2.30 billion. Because of?
Yes, the additional request, budget request, yan, no, yung 2.037. Please, clarify na lang. 2.037 billion.
Sir, primarily the bulk of that budget will be going to helping IBC run more sufficiently and also to prepare it possibly for sale. Tama ba? Of the 2 billion po, 979 will go primarily to IBC.
So prime first IBC, make it viable and healthy before selling it.
Yes, Mr. Chairman,
That's
because
just 979. Marami pa, oh. Nakuha ko na. Naguluhan lang ako doon sa nagbawas ng konti, nagdagdag na malaki, humiling na malaki.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the others naman po, the remainder of the 2.037, this is primarily for the capital outlay of OPS proper and the other broadcasting agencies mentioned.
One last question, Mr. Chairman, before I transfer to the other room. The APO production unit, is this open to private engagements? Do you allow printing of private matters, not just your BIR tax forms? For instance, would you allow graduation invitations, wedding invitations, to make this really self-sufficient as a private printing company generating sufficient income for your agency? Who can answer for that? Oh, are you in Zoom? Apo. Siguro, sir, I would just reserve my question again, the appropriate time. Pero if Apo can answer, mas maganda para tapos na.
Sir, sir, we will just relay the question to Apo, sir, and we will get back to you.
Nandito raw, narinig namin. Nandito raw si Apo. Huwag kayong mahiya. And what is the meaning of Apo? Assistant Press. Anong tawag doon? Natatawa si Ina. Bibiro lang ako. Siguro po, Mr. Chairman, kayo na lang po ang umulit ng tanong pag dumating na yung appropriate head ng APO. But I'd like to thank this office for being forthright and frank in answering. And I reiterate, we had 3 or 4 cameras last year. Brand new.
Thank
Make
you,
sure it's still working next year. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Senator Francis Tolentino. So we'll just ask the questions, your queries later, no? Hopefully dumating sa APO. Anyway, again, I would like to give way to my colleagues. I will just ask some questions later. The minority leader is here, but in order, if with indulgence the minority leader, Senator Tulfo, and then the minority leader will be next to ask questions. Senator Tulfo, now you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to put it on record that I fully support the OPS's budget request for 2023. And as a matter of fact, I'm also willing to help you out in your request for additional budget if need be. I'll be on your side. However, I just have a few questions. Actually, they're easy questions and it needs easy answers. Ano na po nangyari sa mga empleyado po ng PTB4? Hindi po nabibigay yung kanilang salary increase for the past 15 years. And marami sa kanila, 17 years na, hindi pa rin po regular. Yung pong PTB4, nung umalis ako, ganun pa rin po. Because I used to work at PTB4, FYI. Ako po, Mr. Chair, naging reporter doon, naging anchor. Kung ano yung inabutan ko noon, especially yung parking lot, yung pa rin ngayon. It's a sorry state, kaawa-awa. At ito nga masakit eh. Alam nyo po, yung PTB4, being a government station, sila po yung nasa front line para pagwapuhin po itong administrasyong ito. Totoo yan. In fact, marami po sa mga stasyon ng telebisyon, radyo, dyaryo, pinipick up po yung mga news na galing po sa PTB4 to be disseminated nationwide. And I know this for a fact, pag meron pong coverage sa Malacanang, napupuyat po yung mga taga-PTB4 because days ahead, nagpe-prepare na sila and during the event, nakatutok sila, nagsiuwi na po yung ibang mga channel, nandoon pa rin sila. So what I'm trying to say here is, mahirap po yung trabaho ng mga taga-PTB4. Talagang ginagawa nila lahat, ma-disseminate proper information from Malacanang para maging gwapo po yung ating stasyon. Pero ano pong ganti? Sila po ay pangit. Pangit po yung kanilang sitwasyon. Kinakawawa po sila. Buti nga po wala na ako doon. Kasi kung nandoon pa ako at ako po'y broadcaster, baka ako po'y nanggagalaiti na. So, what happened na po doon sa yung sa kanilang sweldo? May papakita nga po pala akong video, ano? Pwede ba natin i-roll yung video? Paki-roll yung video. Okay. Nasaan yung video? I-share natin yung video. Tingnan niyo po kung ma-recognize niyo po kayo mga taga-OPS. Yan po ay parking lot. Nung ako po ay reporter pa lang dyan, rookie reporter, ganun na po yung itsura ng parking lot. Walang pinagbabago. Walang pinagbago. Ganun po talaga. Buhol-buhol yung mga sasakyan. At ito po, ni-renovate pero hindi po ni-utilize. Ginawa pong parang bodega. Ayan o. Ginastusan po yan ng milyones. Ginastusan po yan. Tapos anong itsura? Tinambakan lang po, ginawang bodega. Ayan po, nakita niyo po, yung mga silya nakatali sa cabinet. Bakit po nakatali? Kasi nga po, pag ikaw ay na-late, aagawin yung silya mo. Wala ka ng silya, upo ka ng sa sahig. Ganun po ang sitwasyon. Nakatali po yung mga upuan doon sa cabinet para hindi po sila maagawan. Ayan po, tumutulo yung bubong pag umuulan. Okay? Hindi ko na alam kung saan parte yan nung nandun pa akong trabaho. Yan, waterproofing, butas-butas. Ang daming daga, ang daming ipis. Ayan. Kita niyo po. Yung ginagawa po ng mga itinalaga yung alipores, lalo na yung GM at chairman ng PTV4 ng mga nakaraang administrasyon para hindi po ma-address yan. May leak po sa hallways. Ayan po yung kubeta, oh. Tinalian. Yan. Nakatali dahil kung hindi mahulog po yan. Ayan po yung tubig. Sasahod ka ng tubig dyan. Ayan, para linisan yung sarili mo. Ganun po, may slide ka, kakalawangin. Pag minalas-malas ka, kalawang at baka matitanong ka pa. And then, ayan po, yung kusina ata yan. Mamaya po makikita niyo yung pantry. Wala akong maayos na pantry. Doon po sila yan. Sa upuan po sila nagluluto. Kita niyo po yan. Ganun po noon, nung ako po nagtatrabaho pa dyan, 20 years ago, hanggang ngayon, ganun pa rin, walang asenso. Anong pinanggagawa ng GM at chairman na maupo dyan for so many years, nagpalit-palitan na anong ginawa? I can tell you, anong ginawa nila? Kinurakot siguro nilang budget para sa PTB4. Because when I was still there, akit po ako sa office of the chairman, GM, para meron po akong i-request or ako po'y pinatawag. Makikita ko po, ang ganda ng opisina ni GM at saka ni chairman, ang bango at ang dami pong merienda, cookies, soft drinks, what have you, mansanas. Pagbaba mo, doon po sa desk, sa mga side ng reporter, kaawa-awa. Nakakaawa po yung sitwasyon nila. Halos wala sila makain kasi tama-tama lang po yung kanilang sweldo. Pasko, I can remember. 13-month pay? Heck no. Anong 13-month pay? Bibigyan po kami noon. Makakatanggap kami parang relief goods. Yung isa pong malaking supot, nandyan po yung iba't ibang dilata, sardinas, drinks na galing pa po sa advertisers. Anong nangyari doon sa pera na dapat mapunta sa amin, 13-month pay? Binulsa siguro. Papalag ka, sisibaking ka. Kasi hindi ka naman regular Talent ka lang So sino ba naman si Rafi Tulfo at that time na magsusumbong, magreklamo, madali akong masibak dahil ako'y hindi regular. Ang dami pong nangyaring korupsyon sa PTB4. Kung pwede nga lang po, patawag lahat ng mga naging GM at chairman dyan at gigisahin ko po. Kaya ko, I will look in their eyes and I'll tell them na meron sila mga binulsang pera. At kaya po, ganun pong itsura ng PTB4. Dahil kapag hindi po sila nangurakot, hindi po nagnakaw mga yan, na-improve na po sana yung sitwasyon niya sa PTB4. Diyan na lang po sa parking, 20 years. Walang pinagbago. Mukhang basurahan. 20 years. Magkano lang po yung pag-improve sa parking lot na yan? Wala pa siguro 1 milyon. Tapos yung mga upuan, God damn. Kailangan itali para hindi nakawin. Ano pong nangyari? Sorry mahilit pa ako. Iharap niyo sa akin yung mga nakarang OPS, talagang lalampasuhin ko. Patawag niyo, Mr. Chair. Gigisahin ko lahat na naging OPS at lahat naging chairman at GM. Marami kong alam na katiwalaan dyan sa PTB4. Mapapaya sa akin. Kung pupunta sila rito, lalampasuhin ko. Nakakainit ang ulo. Why? Because hindi magiging Rafi Tulfo si Rafi Tulfo. Kung hindi po sa PTB4 because I started at PTB4. Malaki pong naambag na tulong sa akin ng PTB4. Diyan po ako natuto kung paano po maging isang reporter, paano po maging magaling na researcher, paano pong connect sa mga taong dapat interviewin. I've learned a lot diyan sa PTB4. Kaya may sentimental value po sa akin ng PTB4. Kaya mainit ang ulo ko ngayon. So pasensya na po. So ngayon, I need answers. Ano po ang plano ninyo sa PTB4? Hindi pa ako tapos. Mamaya po meron pang IBC 13. Ano po yung plano? Please.
Mr. Chair, may I refer your inquiry to Ms. Ina Reformina, who's our Undersecretary for Broadcast Media Services.
Please, Yusek Ina, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Let me begin, Mr. Chair, in saying that the Office of the Press Secretary fully supports any call for accountability, regardless of whatever agency or office of government, Your Honor. We fully support that, Your Honor, as the Office of the Press Secretary. Now, regarding the salary, Mr. Chair, a question was raised. There has been no movement whatsoever in promotions or salary increases, at least main movements po for the past 15 years, precisely because there needs to be a new table of organization duly approved by the GCG po. What we did, we've transmitted a table of organization proposal assisted by the Development Academy of the Philippines. Actually, sa past administration po ito, Your Honor, but the transmittal was made by my office. That was in the first week of September. Now, why do we need that po? Because that will serve as the basis for the promotions, yung movement sa kanilang salary grade, because there has to be a standard, Mr. Chair. Of course, para naman po patas yung iba-ibang mga GOCCs, dapat po may standard and may qualifications po. Now, in the interim po, because I was told, Mr. Chair, that it will take 2 years po to evaluate a new table of organization, and it's difficult to wait po. I understand the sentiment of Senator
makasingit
Tulfo.
po, Yusek. So, ibig sabihin, ang reporter dyan, 15 years na siya, hindi pa rin siya makatanggap ng increase up to now kasi kailangan, babaguhin ba yung charter?
What yung TO po, Mr. Chair, na assisted by the Development Academy of the Philippines has been forwarded for the review of the GCG. But because it will take 2 years po, what I did as early as July 28 po, that is just a few days after we assumed office, I submitted a memorandum to our Office of the Secretary po, then Secretary Trixie Cruz Angeles. I submitted po a memorandum favorably endorsing the complementary salary adjustment po, Mr. Chair.
Good.
July 28 pa po yun. Tapos there were also back and forth na
Okay,
mga
so if you did submit that to Secretary Trixie at wala na po siya ngayon, so kailan po may expect ng mga taga PTB4 yung kanilang salary increase na sinasabi niyo po?
Unfortunately, Mr. Chair, there has to be complete staff work. So that is where we are right now po. They are still finalizing yung complete staff work because
Sorry
in
ma'am,
principle
kailan po nila
let's ask them po because in principle nag-agree na po tayo doon pero yung source of funding, Mr. Chair, ang problema because of the losses po. So may I please ask Attorney Raymond Sanchez to be acknowledged because sila po yung gumagawa ng complete staff work which my office is waiting for po.
Yes, Attorney Raymond Sanchez probably can answer the queries of Senator Tulfo.
Sir, pakidiretso lang, kailan ba yan? Next year, next millennium, o pagpatay na tayong lahat, wala gunaw ng mundo?
Yes po. Salamat po, Senator. So, inaayos po namin yung complete staff work. So, we expect po by next month po, or by this month po, may sasubmit na po natin yan. So, isang issue na lang po na nire-resolve ay funding requirement.
Okay.
So, alam naman po ng lahat na ang PTV po ay continuously po losses na po ito for the past more than a decade na po. So, ito po yung nagiging malaking problema. Pero, ginagawa po natin ng paraan to.
Kasi nga po, kung sino-sino lang pinaglalagay nyo dyan kung maglagay sana kayo ng tao na talagang may karanasan sa pagmamalis ng TV, network, at meron talagang puso, dedikasyon sa kanyang trabaho, matagal na po sana na-improve yan. Hindi nga, para sa akin, I think it has to do with the people that runs PTB4. Kaya siguro hindi umaasenso yan. Wala kasing pakialam kasi alam nila, after 6 years, alis na kami rito. Bahala na yung susunod. Walang dedikasyon, walang pagmamahal sa trabaho. Ang alam lang is pera lang. Totoo yan. I can say that kasi galing po ako dyan. Alam ko po may mga katiwalaan. Diba? Mahirap lang magbanggit kasi wala sila dito. They cannot defend themselves. But if they're here, i-expose ko po lahat ng baho nila. Now,
Mr. Chairman,
Sir,
interjection.
on process na.
If Senator Tulfo will allow me, bakit
Go ahead po.
wala yung mga PTB4? Dapat andyan sila kasi they are GOCC na whose budget is being discussed.
Senator Coco, he is here. Attorney Raymond Sanchez.
Correct, andyan ang...
He's the
Yeah,
one answering for PTV.
correct, andyan dapat ang PTV4. Oh, sige po, salamat po.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. So, Attorney Sanchez, you're with PTV4. Ikaw ba'y pro-employee o pro-management? Kasi kung pro-management ka, I don't want to talk to you. Gusto ko dapat pro-employee ka. Kasi ako pro-manggagawa ko, pasensya na.
Yes po.
Ayoko ng bulahan dito. Gusto ko diretso ang salita.
Yes po, Mr. Chair. So ako po sa tingin ko po ay nasa gitna po ako. Una po, naging COS po ako ng 2 taon. Ako po ang kausap po ng union po sa loob po ng 1 taon. Marami po kaming mga sulat po at mga projects po na naisulong po dahil po maayos ang aming ang relasyon po. So meron pa pong mga naging problema lang po dahil kailangan ng mga OP approval, pero meron naman po kaming mga nakakamit naman po. At isa nga po na magandang ginawa po ni GM Jules po ngayon ay itinalaga niya po ang sekretary ng union po bilang admin division head po para po ipakita sa mga tao na sincere po, na sincere siya doon sa gusto niya talagang matulungan at maresolba ang mga concerns po ng mga tao.
Okay. Paano naman po yung mahigit 500 mga empleyado po ng PTB4 na hanggang ngayon po mahigit 1 dekada na ay mga contractual pa rin? Wala bang pag-asa sila na maging regular? Hanggang sa mamatay sila, gano'n na lang sila? O hanggang magretiro? Hindi ba sila makatikim na maging regular man lang sila?
Mr. Chair, simula po nung umupo po si GM Cat De Castro at kasama po kami doon, ay inayos po namin agad ang issue po ng Table of Organization ng PTV na ito na yung problema since 2013 at bago pa po noon. So kami po ang kumuha sa Development Academy of the Philippines para tulungan po kaming ayusin ito. At ngayon finally po, after po more than 1 year po, na naiayos na namin siya at naisubmit na sa OPS at tinutulungan kami sa OPS at naisubmit na po nila sa GCG. So dito po kakailanganin po namin ng tulong nyo po para po ma-follow up po doon sa GCG, mapabilis po ang proseso po. Pwede po kasi itong abutin ng 6 months po kung tututukan, pero pwede rin po siya abutin ng 2 taon kung magkakaroon ng maraming problema.
So 2 years at the most na pwedeng maayos yung problema tungkol sa contractualization. So maging regular po yung 500 something. Sabi ko nga po, Mr. Chair, when I was there, gusto ko sana magreklamo kasi nakita ko yung kalunos-lunos na sitwasyon namin. Ako, kasama ko bilang reporter. Paano ko magreklamo? Hindi ako regular. Pwede akong sipain anytime. Anyway, okay, so in 2 years time, maging regular na, more or less.
There. So dahil po alam namin na matagal po itong proseso na to, so nakipagtulungan po kami, gumawa po kami ng isang committee po sa PTV kasama ang union po at nakikipag-usap po kami ngayon sa CSC at sa GCG po. Continuous po ang aming discussion para mag-explore ng other opportunities po para kung meron pong alternative solution in the meantime po, magawa po namin.
Okay. Now, sige, asahan ko po yan. Pwede ho ba isa sa inyo, siguro si Secretary, yung bagong OPS Secretary, pwede ho ba bumasyal kayo sa PTB4 para makita niyo po yung sitwasyon ng mga empleyado doon o yung building, yung mga tumutulo, yung kubeta na mabaho at tinatalian yung toilet bowl. Pwede ho ba para, mas maganda mo kung makadalaw kayo?
Yes,
I would suggest
Mr.
that.
Chairman, dadalaw po tayo dyan within the week
Okay.
para po makita natin ang sitwasyon
Yes.
at kasama niyo po ako sa paghahanap ng solusyon
Yes.
upang mapabuti po yung kalagayan ng mga ating manggagawa sa PTV4. Gusto ko lang pong i-emphasize, kaya gusto rin po namin ang tulong nyo. For the past 3 budgets, sir, wala pong capital outlay na binibigay sa PTV4.
Okay.
Kaya po hindi po rin na-improve yung kanilang mga facilities.
Kung matatandaan niyo po, kung nabalitaan niyo po, 2 beses ko na hinambalos yung DBM kasi ngayon DBM slash lang ng slash, wala nang alam kung hindi mag-slash. Kung minsan selective sila, may mga ahensya na hindi nila masyado ini-slash, siguro paborito nila for whatever reason, sila nakakaalam. Sige po, susuporta po ako kung ano po magagawa ko, if it needs legislation, para, I don't know, para mapaganda po yung sitwasyon po ng OPS, I'll do it. I'm with you. Like, what I'm saying. Kasi mahalaga po ang papel na ginagampanan po ng OPS. Kasi kayo po ang nagbibigay ng magandang imahe sa administrasyong ito. Kayo po ang nagpapagwapo, sinabi ko nga po yan eh. Yung mga proper information dissemination nanggagaling po sa inyo yan. Unlike sa mga nakikita natin sa social media na puro fake news, kayo po ang palaging nagbibigay ng tamang impormasyon at kayo po yung pinipick up ng mga iba't ibang media outlet. Tapos yung po mga nagtatrabaho behind the scene, yung mga reporter na at the same time, hindi na alagaan. Dapat alagaan po natin kasi may mga pamilya din po yan eh. May mga umaasa din po sa kanila, may mga pinapagamot din sila, may mga sakit. Diba? Maganda po yun, Madam Secretary, kung makadalaw po kayo. And then I would advise you po, Madam, kausapin niyo po yung ilang mga empleyado doon, especially yung mga matatagal na po, Ma'am. Palagay ko meron pa akong mga kakilala doon. Pero yung iba, patay na ata, sumalangit. Pero ibig sabihin talagang matagal na akong nagtrabaho doon dati. So please help these people sa PTB4. And they will really appreciate it if you can come by and visit them. Yung parking lot, ma'am, maayos ba natin yun?
At titignan po natin, basta pag pumunta po ako doon, makikipag-usap po ako sa kanila at titignan po natin ang pwede natin gawin para at least man lang yung parking lot initially, pwede natin silang tulungan.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, sige. Sa PTB4, asahan ko po yan, something will happen at least within the next couple of years, right? Yung pong Channel 13 na ibinibenta po, paano naman po yung mga separation pay ng mga empleyadong nagtrabaho dito?
Mr. Chair, nandito po ang ating President and CEO ng IBC 13, si Mr. Hexilon Alvarez. Pwede po niyang sagutin ang inyong mga tanong.
Magandang hapon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Tungkol po sa mga retirement benefits po ng mga empleyado po ng IBC 30, ikinalulungkot ko po na simula 2009, hindi po nakayanan po ng IBC 13 nasagutin po ang mga ibang retirement benefits. Sa ngayon po, we were able to cover only the amount of roughly around 38% of the total 100%. Kaya po kami humihingi po ng tulong po sa Senado sapagkat nung isang taon po, meron po kami nakitang resolution na maaari po natin gawin. Through the help of the Office of Congressman Ed Salagman, meron po kasing pondo. Ang tawag po dito ay yung Pension and Gratuity Fund. And this fund is a revolving fund and it's supposed to cover other GOCCs when they can no longer pay for the retirement benefits of their employees. So pasok na pasok po dito ang pagsagot po sana na matagal na pong nagla-languish po in squalor ang ating mga retirees, roughly around 130 of them. Sa ngayon, ang natatanggap lang po nila, ang kaya lang pong ibigay ng IBC ay 10,000 pesos a month doon po sa kanilang mga napakalungkot po and we all know that it is this particular sector, yung mga retirees, mga senior citizens, ang talagang tinamaan po itong pandemic.
With the indulgence of Senator Tulfo, ilan po doon sa mga retirees na ang namatay na hindi man lang naramdaman o
Unfortunately,
bigyan natin ng
actually,
retirement benefits?
we actually prepared a video, but about 3 or 4 have already passed away in the past 2 years, and they have yet to.
So ano nangyari doon ngayon, Mr. Alvarez, yung namatay na at hindi tinatanggap yung kanilang pension, so ganun-ganun lang, wala na?
Hindi po. Sinisigurado po ng IBC na kahit paano, kung ano man ang meron po ang IBC may bigay, binibigay po namin sa kanilang mga legal heirs.
Okay. Right. Pero, di ba yung IBC 13, marami mga bumibili ng airtime dyan, black timer, so kumikita rin yun, kahit papaano? I think.
Sa pagpasok ko po,
Saan po pumunta yung mga income doon, mga revenue doon sa black timer, sa mga black timer?
yung mga black timers po dati, this was DepEd po. This was during the pandemic. Parang nagkaroon po ng
So I know na may utang-atang DepEd ng 75 million. So ba't
Yes
niyo
po.
po singilin?
sinisingil po namin sa ngayon at we were informed also by the USEC of Finance and Admin po ng DepEd na it's under process po. Hopefully, makukuha po ng IBC yun at malaki pong tulong yun sapagkat
Okay, kung magbayad po yung DepEd, I will help you na maningil kung gusto niyo po.
Yes, that
Sabay
would be-
tayo, tutulungan ko masingil yung DepEd. Now, pag nasingil po yung 75 million, halimbawa, so Ano pong gagawin nyo dun sa 75
Doon
million?
po sa 75 million po, doon po namin tutugon po para sa mga empleyado po namin. Meron po ko din kasing a similar situation pero we were able to find workarounds.
So sa mga empleyado nyo, ibig sabihin pambayad sa mga retirees, yung mga nagretiro.
A portion of that will go to that and also to a recalibration of their salaries kasi mga empleyado po ng IBC katulad din po ng mga empleyado ng PTV4 hindi rin po naka-receive ng increase. Opo. Last year when I assumed office, I saw this and it was very obvious to me na something had to be done. So what I did was I provisionally provided for a 3,000 peso recalibration for them. Which is now subject of co-observation. But hopefully, if it will be approved by the Office of the President, then we can continue to work as for that.
So, okay. Last na lamang po, Mr. Chair. So, asahan ko po yun, yung mga pinag-usapan natin dito, na po yung po'y matutupad. Ako po'y makulit na tao. Maraming sasabi, napakakulit ko raw. Yes, inaamin ko po yan. Dahil ang gusto ko po, kung ano yung ipangako, ano na pag-usapan, talagang dapat natutupad. Dahil kung hindi, babalikan ko kayo every now and then, and 2 years from now, I'll be like the monkey on your back. I'm not gonna stop until I'll get good answers. And good answer with me will mean na makukuha po ng mga pobreng mga taga-PT4 na aping-api sa napakahabang panahon, sila po'y aping-api. Kinakawawa po sila. Totoo yan. Kawawang-kawawa po yung mga taga-PT4. Masisipag po sila. Because I've been there. I was there. I was one of them. They do their best na para makapagserbisyo, makapagtrabaho. Tapos, ang kapalit. Pinapagwapo, again, for the end time, ang trabaho po ng mga taga-PTB4, pinapagwapo po kung sino man yung administrasyon na pinanilbihan nila. Gwapong-gwapo. They do everything na para maging gwapo. Pero anong kapalit? Binabalasuba sila. Pinapapangit sila. Pangit ang kanilang sitwasyon, I mean. Yun lang po. Pasensya na po kayo because naging sentimento ako. May sentimento po kasi ako ngayon. At I'm being sentimental because once upon a time, ano po ako sa PTV4. Diyan po ako nag-umpisa. Hindi ko po siguro kayo makakarap ngayon. I won't be Senator Raffy Tulfo kundi dahil sa PTV4. Isa po yan sa nakatulong para marating ko po yung aking kinaroroonan ngayon. So that's why malaking pasalamat ko rin sa PTB4. Okay? Magkaroon po ako naging reporter ako dyan, naging newscaster ako dyan, nagkaroon ako ng TV shows. So malaki po ang nagawa sa akin ng PTB4. Maraming salamat po. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Mr. Chair, thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Raffy. We understand your sentiments. May ano pala. Of course, may sentimental value sa inyo ang PTV dahil doon kayo nagsimula. Talaga nakakalungkot din yung yung sitwasyon while reading because the first time I chaired the OPS also hearing the sad situation of IBC and PTV4. Pero alam niyo napansin ko rin yan pag yung bihirang panahon ako na interview sa IBC at sa PTV parang yung kagamitan nila pati yung mga tao nila antik na rin. Parang panahon pa na talagang nandun pa rin sila, kawawa naman, no? It's really sad, the sad state. But I just like to ask, siguro isn't it mandated supposedly by law that the benefits of the employees, or the retirement benefits of the employees should be given to them? Dapat siguro we can ask DBM, at least kung yun man lang, Sen. Raffy, pagtulungan natin as DBM, so that once and for all, we can already settle this problem of a decades-old problem na itong, we know for a fact that IBC and PD4, subsidized na ito, hindi na kumikita talaga. But I think yung retirement benefits are due to these people, no? Because they work for it, di ba? Pag tinagtrabahuhan na nila, kanila yun di ba? Parang ganun din yung sa amin sa sa local government sa San Juan namin, no? I remember yung terminal leave ng mga tao sa amin doon, ayaw ibigay. Pero tao, pinagtabahuhan na yun, that's theirs. So probably we can ask, we'll see what we can do so that we can finally settle this. Sabi nga ni Attorney Sanchez and Yusek Ina, hopefully itong mga problema to in a year or two, hopefully ma-resolve na. Just imagine, IBC, PTB4, RPA, RPA na wala na sa equation. Panahon pa ng ng Marcos Senior. no? Tapos after that, talagang subsidized na siya ng ating budget all the way. So, yun lang, probably yung retirement benefits should be mandated by law, and probably we can see how we can settle this problem once and for all. Kasi kawawa naman tao. How many, Mr. Rexel Alvarez, how many employees does IBC 13 have at present?
Currently, Mr. Chairman, our total component is around 172.
172.
172. This is nationwide po. So these are 172 families that,
At saka talagang ma-equipment nyo, ano na eh.
naku po, na sobra.
Para ho pa ni
Kopong-kopong pa po.
Bahong eh, no?
Opo.
Ibang iba na, talagang ano na. It's, binubuhay na lang si subsidy and you're just living to the subsidy
That's correct.
para lang maitawid, di ba?
Oo,
So
opo.
we understand the predicament. Probably yung ano talaga niyan, ang plan is really to privatize but it has to be feasible. Kailangan maging viable siya.
Yes, Mr.
Nobody will buy it. I don't think any corporation or enterprise will take interest if it's a losing in its current situation ng IBC.
Yes po.
So ang inyong proposal to yung additional so that you can try to improve service at the same time yung pay the salaries and what is due to the employees.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. The problem really, kasi ang problema talaga natin, aside from hindi yung utilization, I think ang problema talaga natin with DBM, as they have explained lately, it's the fiscal space because of the problems that currently we have. But because of the trillions of loans, because brought about by the pandemic. So talagang limited yung fiscal space. Ang dami talagang on how we will be able to make things fit. Kailangan pagkakasya-kasyahin natin. So before I continue, the chair will continue, the minority leader, the chair would like to acknowledge the minority leader who has been online since we started.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How is my signal, sir? Klaro naman.
Loud and clear,
you.
minority leader.
Thank you. Just like Senator Tolentino, I want to be clarified kasi ito yung mga mix of government agencies and corporations na nakakalito. We have been, this is the office of the press secretary na dating kilala na PCOO, tapos meron pang presidential spokesperson. Can somebody clarify what is the status now? Ano na ba talaga? What has been happening with these three offices?
Mr. Chair, wala na pong PCOO as of now. Na-abolish na po siya. Na-rename siya into Office of the Press Secretary. Ngayon po, may 3 offices na napunta po under OP na dating nasa PCOO. Ito po ang PIA, ang BCS, at saka yung RTVM.
So wala ng PCOO, wala na ring presidential spokesperson. Tama po ba 'yon, ma'am?
Yes, Mr. Chair, kasi po wala pong spokesperson si Pangulong Marcos.
Yeah, yung harap sa media would be the head of the office of the press secretary. Tama po ba 'yon?
Kung may message lang po siya, Mr. Chair.
Wala kayong scheduled weekly meet the press?
Mr. Chair, meron po kaming once a week na press briefing po. But basically, since I'm the OIC, ang gusto po natin ay bigyan ng pagkakataon po ang ating mga department heads at saka ibang heads of agency na humarap dito sa mga press briefings na ito.
Yes, but that is a program of the office.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Meaning to say, yung gastos na konektado dyan, that is part of your budget. Yan ang gusto kong sabihin. Tama po ba yun?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Ma'am, Attorney Garafil, you are now OIC, but you have been appointed as Undersecretary. So ang ibig ba sabihin nito, we are still awaiting the appointment of a secretary who is higher than you?
Opo. Yun nga po ang implication ng aking OIC position or appointment.
Sige po. Kayo po yung nakaharap namin dun sa DOTR budget mo, ano?
Yes, Mr. Chair, ako po ang chairperson po ng LTFRB nung nagkaroon po tayo ng budget hearing 2 weeks ago.
Tama, tama. So, okay, so you're a very flexible person. From LTFRB's budget, now you're going to defend the budget of the OPS. So, okay, ngayon po ma'am, meron kayong attached agencies na si Bureau of Broadcast Services, si National Printing Office, tsaka si News and Information Bureau. Tapos meron din tayong, although natanggal na yata ito sa inyo, sabi nyo linipat, yung si PIA, linipat nyo naman ito sa, si PIA po ay nasa OP?
Office of the OP po, Office of the President,
Opo.
Mr. Chair.
Can you clarify to me kung wala bang overlap sa mandate o function si PIA at saka si BBS at saka si NIB?
PIA, Grassroots Communication and Focus, PBS, radio stations natin. And
Sir, ang PIA, ang concentration ng kanyang function is grassroots communication. Ang PBS po ay radio. Ang NIB po ay online newswire.
O anong diferensya nun? Si NIB, online newswire. Anong ibig sabihin po niyan sa layman's term? Anong ginagawa niyan?
hawak na lang Philippine News Agency. Sana po post ng news slide.
Sir, hawak nito ang Philippine News Agency na parang ito yung ating wire. Kumbaga, ito yung online publication po natin.
Okay, si BBS Radio. So ano ang ating do we operate a radio station and then ano yung kanyang dial? Saan siya mahahanap sa dial?
Radyo Pilipinas.
Meron po tayong Radyo Pilipinas sa Mr. Chair.
We have 30 stations.
So may 30 stations sila all over the country.
Okay, na-interview na rin tayo dyan eh. Okay po. Ngayon, so yung PIA, so anong diferensya anong basic difference ni PIA?
Communication, merong 18 regional offices.
Meron po itong 18 na regional offices ang PIA. So ang concentration po nila ay sa mga grassroots, sa mga regions natin, sa mga LGU, kung saan lahat po ng ating communication ay doon natin pinapaabot.
Tapos nalipat sa iyo we also have here Deputy Director Carl Fajardo. Pwedeng kasi magtanong pa.
Sir, nandito po si PIA Deputy Director Carl Fajardo. We can explain.
With the indulgence of a minority leader, since our OIC Yusek Cheloy just assumed, in fact, this is her first day in office. Probably si Director Glenn can answer the query of Senator Coco.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To the good Senator, we also have here yung Deputy Director ng PAA to explain further. Pero tama po yung sabi po ni OIC na the PIA focuses on grassroots communication wherein we have 18 regional offices and over 78 provincial offices. While the NIB, hawak nila yung Philippine News Agency, they are the ones who provide online newswire, while yung PBS, sila po yung radio natin. Yung PIA kasi medyo dynamic siya. Siya yung may regional presence talaga when it comes to state communication. If I may, I'd like to request that the Deputy Director of PIA be recognized to be able to explain further.
Mr. Chairman, okay yun. Kasi ito na lang para maintindihan nyo bakit ko ito tinatanong. Kasi this administration is championing the concept of right sizing. So, kaya dapat klaro sa atin, ano ba yung functions ng iba-ibang, yung iba agency, Yung iba naman naging independent. So pero kung parehas lang ang functioning or nag-overlap masyado, then this administration which is championing right sizing, the concept of right sizing must walk the talk. Ito una niyan tignan para bawasan na natin yung mga overlap. So the person who will explain, please do so in ordinary language, in layman's terms, para po maintindihan. Hindi lang ako, kasi ako may staff naman tumutulong sa akin eh. Yung mga nakikinig po sa ating taong bayan para maintindihan na hindi tayo nag-aksaya ng pera sa budget natin.
Please go ahead para masagot yung concern ni Sen Coco.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Deputy Director General Carl Fajardo of PIA with the indulgence of Yusek Garafil, Mr. Chair. Sa pagbuo po ng Executive Order number 2, nahiwalay po yung Philippine Information Agency, yung Bureau of Communication Services, and Freedom of Information papunta sa iisang PIA na po, at ngayon po yung PIA is under the Office of the President. Nung nakaraan po kasi, nung nandyan pa po ang PCOO, medyo putol-putol po yung string of services ng communications and information sa PIA. Sa pagbuo po ng EO2, lahat po ng mga may kinalaman sa information, regardless po kung sinong administration ang nakaupo, ay mabibigay na ng PIA. So ngayon po, ang PIA na may 16 regional offices and 78 provincial offices nationwide, mako-complement na po ito ng Freedom of Information Program, kung saan nandyan po yung mga info officers natin na tatanggap ng mga FOI requests. Aside from that, nandyan din po ang Bureau of Communication Services na magiging marketing service arm ng PIA. Sila po ang magpo-produce ng mga info and education and communication materials para po sa mga grassroots natin sa mga barangay. So sa pamamagitan po nito, we are right-sizing the functions of similar offices with similar functions into one, at magiging complementary and end-to-end na po ang serbisyo ng PIA. So magiging complementary naman din po kami sa functions ng OPS, which is primarily focused in broadcast media and in handling the media for the President, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so ang PIA budget ay will be taken up together with the OP.
Mr. Chair, sa ngayon po, dahil po nung na-print daw po yung NEP ng DBM, ay nakasama pa po under OPS yung budget ng PIA at BCS at FOI. Nagpadala po ng errata ang DBM para po by the time na ma-approve na po ang budget or ipapadala na po sa Pangulo, under na po sa OP yung PIA and BCS.
But before, with the indulgence of the minority leader, since kasama pa yung budget ng PIA with the 2023 NEP, no? So yung budget nyo will be handled and be approved under this committee.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So it's
Just to clarify.
So yeah, we are taking it up now, bale. So ano yung bottom line po ng budget ng PIA? O how much is budgeted for PIA?
Mr. Chair, the budget of PIA is... Sorry. Okay, the budget of PIA is with a total of 455 million, sir, Mr. Chair. This already includes the PIA main, the PIA Freedom of Information, and the PIA Bureau of Communication Services. 291 million of the 455 composed of the personal services, while the MOOE is at around 164 million. So ito pong binanggit ko po na mga numero totaling to 455 ay kasama na po dito ang PIA main, PIA Freedom of Information, and PIA Bureau of Communication Services, Mr. Chair.
Correct. Kaya yan yung amount na renound off kanina sa 500M, ganun ba yan? Yan yung pinag-usapan kanina, tama po ba?
Mr. Chair, yes po. Kasama po dun sa
Rounded off to
500 million.
500M yata yun because maybe meron pang ibang amounts involved. Okay. So, thank you for that clarification. And mabuti na banggit nyo yung PS, no? I'll go to the PS of the Office of the Press Secretary. meron kaming napansin na mataas po yung, just correct me if I'm wrong, Yusek, no? Garafil, mataas po yung unfilled positions sa OPS, tapos mataas din yung contract of service at saka job orders. What's your comment, Yusek?
Mr. Chair, may I refer you to Undersecretary Pam Pedroche, who is our Undersecretary for Administration and Finance.
Sige, ma'am.
Yusek Pedroche, probably you can answer the query of minority. Medyo napansin din namin yun, no? Mataas yung unfilled position, pero mataas din yung job order. So I think yun yung gusto i-clarify ni Minority Leader.
As of August 30 po, we have a total of 206 employees. 117 of the positions are permanent plantilla po. 102 are filled, and we only have 15 unfilled because as of the moment po, we have not yet reconstituted the selection board, sir. But we would be on it as soon as we reconstituted the selection board.
Oo nga. So kung yan ang sagot mo, 206 employees, 117 permanent but 102 filled. So ima-minus ko lang ba yon? 206 minus 102, meaning to say 104 ang inyong mga non-plantilla employees. Tama po ba yon?
Yung iba po are presidential appointees, and as for the contract of services po, from the previous administration of 244, we are now down to only 56, which is a 77% drop from the previous admin's COS.
56 contract of service. Yung mga job orders, parehas ba yon sa COS?
Yes po.
Ano pa yung isa? Alam
Yes,
ko may
Mr.
isa.
Chair.
Okay, sige.
But just to clarify, sa OPS lang yan, no, Yusek?
OPS proper
You're just
na po
talking
ito.
about Yusek.
I'm sorry, sir, but
Hindi pa kasama yung BBS,
Yes po.
NPO, NIB, IBC. Kasi total nun is about 1,220 ang non-permanent personnel.
Yes, Mr. Chair,
Total.
I'm only referring to the OPS
OPS
proper
lang.
po.
Oo nga, bakit natin na-limit sa OPS lang hindi ko lang mahanap yung data ko dito, pero yun yung information nga sa akin, libo-libo ang ating mga contract of service. Bakit po ganun ang naging policy natin?
Pinakamalaki PPTV.
I believe, sir, that the bulk of the COS po would come from PTV4.
Oo nga, so what, is it justifiable just because it is PTB4?
I believe, sir, that the best person to be able to answer this would be Yusek Ina Reformina po.
Oo nga, the entire group is represented today, di ba, Mr. Chairman? Sagutin na lang kung sino yung pertinent agency, CGOCC, or whatever you are called. Answer na lang answer the question if it is pertinent to your agency.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Chair, this Yusek Ina Reformina po. Regarding that question, Mr. Chair, we still go back to the problem of not having a new table of organization, and we're waiting for the GCG po to act on makapal po yung folder, Mr. Chair, na sinubmit namin na DAP-assisted table of organization, which will now set the standards, the guidelines for promotion of employees, as well as the hiring of employees po. So, in principle, Mr. Chair, we agree, mapait po talaga yung marami ang COS po. But until we have a new table of organization duly approved by the GCG, we cannot do otherwise, Mr. Chair.
Are you not operating under an existing table of organization, which will only be changed with a new one if approved by the GCG? Alangan naman naging vacuum, wala kayong table of organization na existing ngayon. Meron, di ba?
In 2015 po, the Bocobo Table of Organization was approved, Mr. Chair. But then again, umalma po yung mga empleyado because masyadong top-heavy po. and it's not fitted for a broadcast entity. That is why they initiated po, the PTV initiated a study which will now be tailor fit to a broadcast company para naman po walang maiiwan. Kasi pag top heavy po, talagang aakyat lang yung mga nasa taas pero may iwan po yung mga middle and nasa baba po. So they wanted it to be thoroughly studied, and this DAP-assisted table of organization, ito po yung suportado ng mga empleyado, Mr. Chair.
So, but right now, are you operating under an existing table of organization, or sasabihin yung free for all, wild west tayo dyan?
The old one po, Mr. Chair, the 2001 Table of Organization, precisely because the implementation of the Table of Organization during the time po of GM Bocobo was suspended, and there is itong DAP-assisted, ito po yung itinutulak po. But Mr. Chair, it will take 2 years, so we hope through the commitment of Senator Tulfo earlier to help us with GCG, ma-facilitate, because kaya naman daw po in 6 months. Kung ma-approve po ito, Mr. Chair, then we can hire the COS. There will be promotions because the standards are already there po.
Hindi ba nag-work pa nga against them ito na ginagamit tuloy natin na we are coming up with a new one, we are freezing the hiring, lahat kayo kung contracts of service kayo, patuloy kayo COS habang pending lahat. Hindi ba parang na chicken and egg question tayo nito? Lalo pang nag-work against the interest of those under contracts of service.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Ang problema po kasi even yung mga empleyado po ay umaalma dun sa 2015. But the point is yung 2001, abandon na po natin yon nung inapprove yung 2015. So therefore, we need a new table of organization po. Ang gusto lang po nila is yung table of organization na akma doon sa uri ng kumpanya po na meron ang PTV, at yung hindi po, yung iba lang yung aangat, yung iba ay mapag-iiwanan. So yung 2015 table of organization po is not supported by the employees. And again, the DAP-assisted table of organization, which we transmitted to the GCG last September 9, ito po yung favorable sa kanila po, Mr. Chair. And hindi po din, kumbaga, kung yung 2015 kasi, if we implement that, Mr. Chair, we will lose a lot of employees. We will be letting go of a lot of employees, and we don't want to do that, sir. That's why the DAP-assisted TO, which is tailor-fit for broadcast, will save a lot of jobs po, sir.
O sige, you know this better than me. Anyway, kayo po ba yung PTV4 yung pinaplano nating gawin noon na parang BBC, di ba? Tama po ba yun?
Yes, yung Philippine Broadcasting Corporation. Mr. Chair, there was a bill. There was a bill then, but unfortunately,
To be
hindi po
patterned after
naipasa.
the British Broadcasting Corporation.
That is correct, Mr. Chair. Yung bill po na Philippine Broadcasting Corporation to pattern PTV with BBC para po magkaroon ng flexibility sa programming, because right now, the PTV is boxed in doon po sa RA 10390. So may limitations sa programming, Mr. Chair. It cannot, for example, sa entertainment, hindi po pwede. So wala pong flexibility, which is why hindi rin po masyado attractive sa mga advertisers. And in the process po, nag-incur tayo ng losses. So yes, Mr. Chair, with the support hopefully of Congress, if we can pass PBC, magkakaroon po ng more elbow room para po maging flexible ang kanilang programming po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Yusek Ina. Mr. Chairman, magtatanong lang ako sa OPS dito sa Visayas Media Hub natin. Nag-allocate tayo for this year ng 392 million plus for capital outlay. Kumusta na tong project mo na ito? And at the same time, kumustahin ko na rin yung binanggit ninyo sa Bukidnon. What are we building also in Bukidnon?
Mr. Chair, may I refer si Undersecretary Eugene Rodriguez to answer those questions.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. The Visayas Media Hub, Mr. Chairman, has already started last July 26, 2022. And currently, as of September 30, 2022, the accomplishment is around 3.96%. with a scheduled completion date on July 19, 2023, Your Honor. By that time, maybe we can already start with the procurement of the accessories and equipment for the VMH, which is the 300 million that was granted in the 2022 GA for the OPS.
And
As
what is
regard-
this? What is this Visayas Media Hub? This is a broadcasting?
The
May
Visayas Media,
transmitter yan? May transmitter?
the Visayas Media Hub, Mr. Chairman, will house the communications arm of the government in the central Philippines and will cater to tailor-fitted news and information for its regions. It will complete the triumvirate of the Luzon, Visayas, and the Mindanao hubs and will be helpful in the broadcast operations of the Office of the Press Secretary, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, medyo mag-suspend muna ako, Mr. Chairman. Hindi ko na masyadong naririnig. Sumama yung signal. Mr. Chairman, baka sa plenary ko na lang tanungin to lahat, Mr. Chairman. Hindi ko masyadong naririnig. I'm sorry, nag-online ako ngayong araw. I should have been there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll just suspend kasi meron pa akong tanong sa IBC retirees. Bakit walang subsidy? Pero hindi ko naman masyadong naririnig, sir, yung sagot. So, I'll just suspend, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Minority Leader. Actually, I wanted to ask also, regarding that, yung query din ni Senator Coco. I think sa IBC, sabi ko kanina, sana once and for all, maayos natin because that's money that the employees work for. No? So, ilan kaya do you have any idea, you have any figure on how much are we talking about para po what is due to the employees or the retirees?
Yes po. This is actually about 50% of what IBC is requesting for in subsidy. This will cover all of the existing retirees of IBC 13 plus also the 30 more retirable employees since 2019, Mr. Chairman.
So your request is for personal services, yun ba yun, 619 million? Is this the one? Is this the figure? Yung nasa yung sa budget request ng OPS, yung IBC 13 is total is 979 million, of which personal services is 619.53.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Kasama na dyan.
Kasama na rin po yung mga pasweldo po sa ating mga current employees.
So that will cover all
Yes, Mr. Chair, that would place IBC 13 with regard to the outstanding obligations in the clear.
yung MOE naman to keep it running, no? Of course. Yung capital outlay, anong balak nito? New equipment? Will you still plan to buy new equipment or improve the facilities?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I think this is also absolutely necessary in order for IBC to become a viable source of information, if not information also, since we've also reorganized ourselves as the Philippine Educational Channel. It would help boost meeting the commitments that the Philippines has made to the United Nations for SDGs on education.
What are the yung assets pa ng IBC?
Sa ngayon po, it's roughly around 1.7 billion. I think that was the last inventory that was made. We still have yet to confirm this. We are going to be conducting, but a lot of our equipment
that includes a studio.
We don't have a
studio, and
we don't actually have a studio right now, Mr. Chair. Unfortunately, we have a makeshift studio because in the building that we're currently residing in, it's low ceiling. We do the broadcast use, but it wouldn't.
You're not in broadcasting in the broadcast city anymore? Wala na doon?
Nasa ano na lang po, nasa corner na lang po ang IBC.
Oh. What happened to the rest in sa broadcast city?
This was an agreement. This was actually a joint venture with our two builders. We're in 3.6 hectares of the original broadcast city complex was used to create homes for commercial use, and that was over a period of 10 years. This paid off yung mga utang din po ng IBC 13. IBC was reduced to that, having to pedal off its assets in order just to survive and pay off its.
So it's na-develop na pala siya into homes
Opo,
already.
yan, mga condo units na po sila ngayon. Most of it.
Oh, wala na pala tayong Broadcast City.
Wala na po.
Okay, at least we know already so yung 619 million that you're asking for already includes benefits and
Yes po.
retirement benefits.
Yes po.
That is due.
Tsaka meron pong kasing pagkukuhanan din nga po, like I mentioned before, the gratuity and pension fund, that's around 236 billion. This was pointed out last year pa po by Congressman Edsel Lagman. I believe it just needs
Anyway, this committee, of course, supports the funding the retirement benefits due to the retired employees. But we are hoping, ang problema talaga natin yan, the dilemma really right now, the Department of Budget Management, DBM, yung fiscal space. So we'll see. Probably can ask them portion para at least kung kalahati man muna tapos 'di ba following year. Anyway, ang target naman ni Yusek Ina sabi niya mga 2 years no para maayos na to because most of you just assumed office also no. Kakasabay niyo with this administration.
Mr. Chair, if I may be recognized, the 2 years po, yung papalo ng 2 years, yung evaluation dun sa TO for PTV. Mr. Chair, OPS would like to stress that if not given any budget, IBC will be forced to shut down by June 2023. Under the NEP po, zero po sila ngayon, Mr. Chair. We're not giving. This is the first time, Mr. Chair, that IBC is not getting any subsidy from government. And if we do not help them, Mr. Chair, as of June 2023, 172 families will be put on the line po.
Well, the chair also is shares your sentiments. Siyempre nakakaawa rin no because I used to defend other budgets of other departments but nakakalungkot talaga no handing this the government channels no which have remained on the red of course siguro yun din ang nasa isip pero we'll see what we can do about it. Kaya nga tinatanong ko kung paano pagkakahimay nito and probably we can ask konti lang sana medyo malaki din kasi ang problema nga fiscal space that we have right now because of the loans that the government obtained during the pandemic. So sa IBC 619 million that yun yung sa benefits pa lang no retirement benefit and also personal services kasama ni PS.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I think what was the problem, the decades-old problem, parang nangyari was swept under the rug. Parang binigyan na ng budget para na mabuhay but we were not able to really go to the point, no, to the root of the problems para may ayos. So I'm hoping that under this new administration, sana may ayos natin, no? Hopefully, pagtulong-tulungan natin, we'll see. I'll also ask the chair of the Committee on Finance on what we can do. Sa House ba, hindi rin ba nalagyan ng budget ang hindi rin nalagyan ng budget?
Negative po, Mr. Chair.
Oh. Yun sa President, I just like to ask, no, para yung mga hinihingi nyo kasi approved, no, but these are the additional budget requests para lang for the record of the committee. So IBC, 979 million, of which 600 million will go to personal services, including the retirement benefits. Yung presidential communications, 151 million, 151.36 MOE is 123. And capital outlay is 27.6. So ano po ang nasa ano yung plano nito? Yung capital outlay and MOE. Personal communications is under OPS pa rin po to. Is it still under OPS? Yes. So yung itong request nyo will be used for SEC o IC.
Sir, for ICT equipment, Mr. Chair, para sa OPS, yung hinihingi naming capital outlay.
For OPS talaga ito.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
For the Bureau of Broadcast Services, yung mga radio stations natin, Radyo Pilipinas.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
How many stations Marami rin to, eh, no?
30 stations, Mr. Chair.
30 stations. So MOE and capital outlay of 231 million. 30 stations, no? And PTV, ano tong ano, malaking capital outlay natin for equipment. Ano pa, what is asking for? And also for siguro infrastructure, siguro yung repairs.
Transmitters, Mr. Chair, improvements and repairs. We have a complete record of our wish list, Mr. Chair, which we can share with your good committee.
Yes, please submit to the committee so that we'll forward it to the finance committee proper for perusal and for review as well.
Will
So
do.
this will be used for equipment improvement and acquisition of equipment. Siguro, no? Upgrading, medyo ano rin, no? It's almost 500 million for PTV.
That is correct, Mr. Chair. Upgrading of our existing network reach po so that we can widen our reach, Mr. Chair.
You were saying earlier that you will try to ano yung BBC, ano yung BBC ba? Name, it will be renamed to BBC?
Philippine Broadcasting Corporation, Mr. Chair. Previously, may bill na po na naipasa, but it did not prosper, Mr. Chair. So yun po yung magbibigay ng more space and elbow room for PTV to reprogram itself so that it is more attractive to advertisers. Because as I said right now, nakabox in dun sa charter po na masyadong limitado po.
Parang parang masyadong government station ang ano, so you would want to change the perception also na BBC parang ano na siya, Broadcasting Corporation. Para then Secretary PCOO Sec Martin Andarar, parang binago niya to, no? Sinimulan, they started to change it. Hindi BBC. BBC rin ba yun?
PBC po.
BBC na rin.
Philippine Broadcasting Corporation.
Okay.
PBC po, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so at least thank you. At least please submit the more detailed itong mga request nyo, no? So that it will be reviewed and be analyzed by the committee. Kung tingnan natin, we'll do our best. Problema talaga natin yung yung limited fiscal space natin because of our limited revenues because of the what has transpired, no? So that so hopefully we can try, we'll try to, as I mentioned earlier, this committee will try to support yung payment of the retirement benefits because that, again, that's due them. And if we can include probably a special provision under your budget, no? Tignan lang natin for that purpose, no? Para to once and for all finish this. Pero we will have to talk to DBM about this para matapos na yung problema ng IBC, PTV regarding your employees. Kawawa naman, no? Some employees have retired, some have passed away already without even enjoying the fruits of their labor, di ba? That's due them, no? Pero pinaghirapan nila, pinagtabawan na yan. So we'll try to, kung makakuha tayo ng funding requirement, then probably we can add a special provision on the budget for that purpose. So we'll do our best, no? I cannot promise, but we'll see kung ano ma-approve, no? Nasa DBM kasi yan, So we will try to forward all of these requests to the mother committee, no? Sa Committee on Finance. Siyempre, lang tayo dito, subcommittee, but we will I will also talk to our committee finance committee chair, no, regarding this problem. Okay, so siguro katanungan lang before, mga hindi masyadong mabigat at hindi masyadong marang nakakalungkot itong budget na ito. Listening to the predicament of our employees, the state of our PDP4, IBC 13. Yung mga vloggers are still because during the last administration, they played a big part in the communications office, no? Talagang isa sa mga integral part nung program ng past PCOO. Would we still accredit? Meron pa tayong accredit ng mga vloggers. during the time of PCOO Secretary Martin Andarar. I understand. And also it was brought by then erstwhile Press Secretary Trixie Cruz Angeles. Would you still continue, Attorney Cheloy?
Yes, Mr. Chair, tama po kayo. Nag-umpisa po ito last administration at pinagpatuloy po siya ng dating Secretary Trixie Angeles. Ngayon po, we will continue to conduct the study and evaluate kung pwede po silang ma-accredit po sa pagko-cover sa atin sa Malacanang. So ongoing pa po yung study po nito.
So would the bloggers or vloggers, would they have the same access, privileges given to the traditional media?
Mr. Chair, kasama po yan sa ating ini-evaluate. So in time, we will issue guidelines po on how this can be done.
So with the OPS ensure that those who will be accredited, no, would live up to the high moral standards. Kasi pagkakaiba ko sa vloggers, they belong to social media. Talagang free to. Ang pagkakaiba doon sa traditional media and those who really work for media outfits, may accountability ito eh. 'Di ba? May etiquettes. So yun ang pagkakaiba eh. Sa social media, free for all. 'Di ba? The irony sa atin pong bansa, Filipino people are supposedly the warmest. Tayo ang pinakamabait, magalang, pero pagdating sa social media, tayo rin ang pinakaano. Minsan parang may mga iba rito, parang na-unleash yung pagka-animal. Totoo lang, di ba? They are taking advantage of the walang accountability. So, paano magiging natin to? Kaya nga sabi ko, ang traditional media, talaga may accountability kayo. Meron kayong etiquette. So, how do we ensure that those vloggers or bloggers that will be accredited will conform to the high standards?
Yes, Mr. Chair, kaya nga po talaga pinag-aaralan po nating mabuti kasi gusto nating mag-set ng parameters at saka mga criteria para po ma-determine natin kung talagang maaari po silang i-accredit sa ating pagko-cover sa ating mga opisyal at sa Malacanang po in particular. Kaya nga po, Mr. Chair, we will also seek the guidance din ng ibang mga sektor para po mapag-aralan po natin itong mabuti.
Yes, because also this, Madam Secretary, OIC, we also understand because technology, bago. It's a new discipline, social media. So kumbaga hindi pa tayo, probably it hasn't really matured. Probably later on, people in social media will be able to police themselves, no? Magkakaroon na ng gano'n. But as of the present, talagang free for all pa, no? So proliferation of fake news, nandun. Kaya nga I think we really have to strengthen the PIA, OPS, at least dito natin makukuha yung mga information that are really legit. Kasi minsan ang hirap, di mo na alam kung anong totoo eh. Pag lumalabas sa social media, 'di ba? Ang gagaling gumawa ng graphics, minsan totoo. May taong buhay pa, pinatay na. 'Di ba? Even public, we are always subject, even government officials. Like me, I was also a victim of a fake news. Kaya nga ito yung mga fake news. Kaya I think we really have to strengthen our own government, our PIA and Office of OPS and the Philippine Information Agency. So to counter itong mga fake news, no? Ako nga kamakailan, naging rin ako ng dati pang accredited na ngayon. Hindi niya panahon yon of the past administration who was also an accredited vlogger, I think, pagkatapos nung mga issues sa isang senador, di ko alam bakit ako naman ang pinag-initan, no? Nakakalungkot. I don't know, nandiyan pa ba yung Paul Farol? Wala na siguro, no? Basta siya yung nag-TikTok, nagba-vlog, ginawan ako ng istorya, dinamay ako na nakabuntis ko raw ang aking chief of staff, pati iba na lang. Ay, nako, pumayat na ako, pinagbintangan na ako. Dati, nung chab-chab ako, di mo na sinasama sa ganyan. Tapos, I found out that he was also, he had a case also with Mayor Richard Gomez, no? Find a case against him. So sana yung mga ganitong vloggers, Madam Secretary, please take a look into this to make sure that those vloggers that will be accredited, yun talagang legit, no? At medyo maayos, no? Kasi kawawa naman tayo eh, 'di ba? Yung people like us, no, that wala kaming laban-laban eh. Siyempre, pag lumabas sa media, pag nag-viral, parang totoo na eh. 'Di ba? Yun ang ano eh. You have to, kumbaga, we're still learning itong social media. We're still new. Wala pang parameters, wala pang policing their own ranks eh. So naging biktima rin po ako kasi kawawa rin naman yung mga tao madadamay. Di bali kami sanay na kami sa fake news, sanay na kaming mga politiko. Kawawa naman yung maliling sa akin, no? May pamilya din 'yon, may reputation din, di ba? So bali kami na lang, okay na away sa politiko, sama, wag nyo na damay iba. So, yun yung problema ko rin. Parang lahat na lang ano eh. Ayun. So, yun lang. We will again, before we end, rest assured that we will try to send this to the mother. Yes, Minority Leader. May pahabol si Sen Coco.
Oo, hindi yung IBC kasi, can I ask a question sa IBC? Kasi hindi ko to naintindihan tong aming data namin. Andyan si Mr. Alvarez naman, no? IBC.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Ang sabi sa akin, you will suffer an estimated net loss for this year of 348,000 pesos. Less than 500,000. Pero sabi rito, for next year, without the subsidy, IBC 13 is projected to incur a net loss of 815 million pesos. Is that correct? That somebody made that projection? Is that correct?
No, Mr. Chair. Actually, the subsidy that IBC 13 is asking for is supposed to cover the personal wages of its employees. This is what IBC has been getting since 2019, actually, Mr. Chair.
So around 70 million, ganun ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's around 70 plus million. This will cover
70 plus.
salaries and wages of its current employees. But we are also requesting for the settlement of the outstanding obligations that IBC has for its retirees.
Which you estimated to be worth?
The total amount is 454 million. That would cover all of IBC former employees who have yet to receive their retirement benefits.
This is a fixed sum. Fixed na yan, hindi nagagalaw yan. 454 million pesos.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, okay, Mr. Chairman, kasi kahit dito na lang, instead na totally na zinero, walang subsidy, if this were to be funded, Mr. Alvarez, it will also be in the form of a subsidy. Ang entry nito sa budget is subsidy din. So i-add lang natin 454 plus bigyan na natin 76 para yung current employees niyo. So around 530 million.
Actually, I think it totals to 616 million, Mr. Chair.
I think I have the figure by 619 million, 0.53 yung personal services that we requested, Senator Coco.
Okay, so in the form nga of a subsidy, para po maintindihan natin, nahingi sila 619 million plus in subsidy that will already now answer the problem of the retirees. Klaro?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Kasi Mr. Chairman, instead na totally zero sila, kasi ngayon sa NEP zero eh. Of course, the best is merong programmed appropriation na for that purpose. But we also have a, subject to the opinion of the budget experts, meron tayo kasing unprogrammed appropriations na some of which end up to be released. Nare-release itong halagang ito. ang lalaki dito, meron tayong support to foreign assisted projects, 380 billion. Meron pa tayo ritong support for infrastructure projects and social programs, yung so-called SIPSIP, 149 billion ito. Wala pang details ito. So kung bawasan natin ng 600 plus million ito, sagot na yung problema po ng IBC 13 as far as the retirees are concerned. So this is a possible solution na in between, no? Instead na zero or talagang ma-fund natin sila sa program appropriations, pwede rin natin silang ilagay sa unprogrammed appropriations because sometimes nagkakaroon po ng excess in revenue or nauutang naman ito as general budgetary support, so pwedeng gastusan at masolusyonan na po ang problema ng ating retirees. So doon muna ako nakatingin sa retirees, Mr. Chairman, kasi napapag-usapan na rin namin ng staff ko yan kasi na-bring na rin sa attention ko eh. Matagal na itong mga retirees na ito. Kailangan na, pag merong retiree na nagserbisyo sa gobyerno or a government GOCC, dapat po i-prioritize natin yung ano nila, para ang kanilang mga benefits at concerns. Kasi parang ano na rin yun eh, parang bilang parang pag-recognize, bayad na rin yun sa government service nga nila eh. In addition to their monthly pay, meron dapat silang, they were promised a retirement package na dapat if i-comply ng gobyerno. Promise ito eh. A promise is a promise, Mr. Chairman. Tapos Mr. Chairman, meron lang tayong mga, siyempre may mga audit findings tayong na-encounter din. Sana ang appeal ko na lang sa mga heads of the bureaus and the agencies, aksyonan nila ito na sana next year, hindi na natin to makita na ma-carry over pa. And then sa National Printing Office, for example, meron daw recording and reporting deficiencies of financial transactions up to 123 plus million pesos. Can we get the response of the National Printing Office? Bakit may finding na ganito?
Okay, Raymond.
National Printing Office, narinig ba ako, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Opo.
Yes, you are coming in loud and clear.
Una sa lahat, tell me if accurate ba yung information ko na meron ko COA audit finding. Opo.
Mr. Chair, may I call on Director Carlos Batan ng National Printing Office?
Mr. Chair, regarding po sa findings na 100 plus million from the COA, we're not aware of that yet, sir.
123 million plus?
Yes, sir. Wala pa po kaming
Okay.
receive sa COA.
Okay, so let's hope na mali yung information ko. Opo.
But I double check one more time, sir. I'll get back to you.
Ito pala kay Mr. Alvarez ulit. Balik ako sa IBC, Mr. Chairman. Ito
Yes,
pala yung meron kayong projected daw net loss nga of 815 million pesos for next year because your projected total revenue is 144 million pesos. Then you have a combined PS and MOE of 203 plus million pesos. And then there are other expenses of 755 million pesos. Are you familiar with those amounts, Mr. Alvarez, for IBC 13?
Mr. Chair, not quite. However, perhaps if I can help inform the committee, perhaps this could be coming from what IBC seeks to lose from the block timing of DepEd, because prior to the pandemic, IBC was a bleeding asset, and it kind of like got its second wind with the rise of the scourge of COVID-19, wherein it was tapped to become the platform for the blended learning project. So, in the amount of DepEd block timing, which was for every 12 hours a day, 6 days a week during the height of the pandemic, IBC was earning around 50,000 per hour, so around 15 million. So total to around 100 plus million. Perhaps that's the information that the good senator has with him. And since there's already been an announcement from DepEd that we will be going into a full 100% face-to-face, IBC is now trying to look for alternative sources of income, which is also education related, in order to support, of course, the government's obligation to provide education, quality education to its citizens.
But IBC 13 is scheduled to be or planned to be privatized next year. Tama po ba yan?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, IBC 13 has always been tagged as for privatization since
Okay.
it was a sequestered asset since 1986. This is, I guess, the unfortunate reality. Everybody was thinking as privatization would be the key to solve all of the problems of IBC. And then in the process, people forgot that there was a company that really actually had to be run properly. And they were just relying on the sale of this. But then, as we know, who would want to buy a bleeding asset like IBC 13 with all of its outdated equipment, labor issues, obligations to its retirees? However, if this is actually resolved now, there's a brighter future for IBC, whether this administration would like to continue to tap its service as an educational arm of the government, or for the eventual sale, but it has to be prime prompt first po.
But what is your greatest asset, the IBC 13?
Our greatest asset, I guess, that would be the franchise, which is also set to expire
Brand
in
new.
2025.
Akala ko na-extend na yan.
Unfortunately, hindi po umabot last year. However, it's still it has been already part of this.
Okay, so hindi pala.
Hindi pa po.
So I was expecting that answer. It will be at the 25-year franchise. Sige. At sige, Mr. Chairman, marami pa sanang tungkol dito sa COA findings, pero general appeal na lang po sa lahat ng agencies present na please address the COA findings para for next year's review, hindi na namin ma-encounter ulit ito, because pag mag-reappear itong mga COA findings na ito, that means for one whole year hindi nyo inatupag, hindi nyo inaddress. So please address the COA findings.
Yes, Mr. Chair, ito po ang isa sa mga ipaprioritize natin under a new leadership. Makakaasa po kayo na pipilitin po nating i-rectify o address yung mga COA findings po.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, our minority leader. Probably with your support, no? I think pareho yung ating intention really to already put an end to these problems, no? Yung lalo na sa mga retirees, no? Hopefully we will try, we'll do our best, no? Hindi na tulad nung again, we cannot always sweep it under the rug all the time, no? Again, these are yung mga taong to, pinaghirapan to, years of service, they earn it, that's their money actually, pera po nila yan. So, probably we'll, again, we will report this to the mother committee and take it up. Probably, kung hindi man kakayanin, probably if we can have a program, probably, kung hindi 50% muna, probably next year susunod, or 30, we'll see, no? But I think we really have to do something about this, no? Ay nako, hindi ko akalain tong budget hearing, kala ko magsiplam, nalungkot pa tayo. It's really sad, no, to hear the sad state of our government television and broadcasting stations, especially its employees. So, we'll see what we can do. Hopefully, in 2 years, yung ating maiayos ang PTV. Hopefully, IBC, the problems that goes with it. So, yun. Again, thank you very much. Since there are no more questions from the committee members, I'd like to thank the OPS, the attached agencies present. To the OIC, USEC, Attorney Cheloy, welcome to OPS on your first day. Pasensya niya, medyo na late tayo because of the signing, tapos nagkaroon pa ng unveiling dito, no? But be rest assured that we will do our best, no? So that all the issues that were discussed this afternoon will be taken up in the mother committee. So, since there are no more questions, the budget of the OPS and its attached agencies and GOCCs and the PIA for fiscal year 2023 is approved under this committee.
Sir, RTVM.
Sorry, sir. Before we wrap up, 2 minutes lang po ito, Sen, if I may.
Okay.
Yusek Franz Imperial from RTVM, sir. As you know, RTVM is the official close-in coverage and broadcast of the President. And isa po kami dun sa mga agency na medyo nasa gray area ngayon dahil nasa NEP kami ng, nasa NEP po kami ng OPS, pero because of EO number 2, nasa PMS na po kami ngayon, hindi po OP, sa Presidential Management Staff. So, pero the fact remains na ang NEP po namin ay nasa OPS. So just for the record, ang hiningi po naming budget was 171 million. Ngunit ang binalik lang ng NEP, ang na-approve ay 138. We are asking for an additional 47 million, which brings us to a total of 185 million for RTVM. So aside po from yung presidential coverage, Sir, RTVM has been helping with yung mga live productions and coverage ng DBM, ng CSC, at ng iba pong executive agencies na wala pong capacity na makapag-broadcast. So, yun po yung amount. Just for the record, and then we'll send po the attached paperwork requests.
Thank you, Sir Franz Gerard Imperial.
Baka maligaw po
of
kasi.
RTVM. So, originally, you're part of the budget
OPS.
of OPS
Opo.
under the 2023 NEP. But I think DBM already issued an errata.
Opo.
Nandun na kayo sa
PMS.
Okay.
Pero parang hindi naman yata kami lalabas talaga dun sa NEP ng PMS dahil nagawa na po yung NEP. So actually dito pa rin po sa committee na to ang
Since there's an errata already issued by DBM, supposedly sa under PMS na kayo, I think. But we will discuss it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So again, since there are no more questions, again, the budget of the OPS and attached agencies and GOCCs is hereby approved under this committee and will be forwarded to the plenary and PIA. And will forwarded to the plenary for further deliberation. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The hearing is now suspended.